Well, I should tell you that in my profession, I have heard a lot of defenses to crimes before. I've heard of self-defense, insanity, mistaken identity. But the one we are about to talk about, I have to tell you, I don't think I have ever heard of this one. An 18-year-old man named Brandon McMahon was arrested for criminal attempt to commit armed robbery, but he says, hey guys, listen, this was just a YouTube prank. Now, I wasn't committing a crime. This was all a joke for my YouTube series. Let me bring in criminal defense attorney Mike Koribanics to talk a little bit more about this. Mike, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on Sidebar.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here, Jesse.
So we're going to show you the video in a second, but just to give everybody a little bit of context about what they're about to watch and listen to, the suspect here, Mr. McMahon, allegedly comes into this Georgia vape shop at night. He's wearing all black, sunglasses, points what appears to be a gun at the cashier, and then he suddenly bends over laughing and takes his mask off. So we're going to play you the video. This was captured on the store's footage.
I need all the Medusas. What the? I need all the Medusas.
Bro. Yo, dude, that's not funny.
Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, I got your ass with the freaking airsoft gun, bro. Oh my god,
bro. You can't come in a store.
Oh my god, that's my bad, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Oh man. Sorry, I was just filming for a YouTube channel.
What makes a person a murderer? Are they born to kill or are they made to kill? Well, Killer Psyche Daily is a new podcast that gives you a quick 10-minute rundown every weekday on the motivations and behaviors of the criminal masterminds, psychopaths, and cold-blooded killers that you read about every day in the news. Host Candace DeLong draws on her years as an FBI agent and criminal profiler to break down these cases for you. On Killer Psyche Daily, Candace will give you insight into cases like Ryan Grantham, the actor who killed his mom, and of course, the Stockton serial killer. She's also going to invite expert guests to dive deeper into the details and share what it was like to work at Quantico. She's also going to answer some killer trivia and even host a virtual Q&A that allows you to ask her questions. It is a unique show with unique insights for all true crime followers out there. So Amazon Prime members, listen to the Amazon Music exclusive podcast, Killer Psyche Daily, in the Amazon Music app, and you can download the app today. So the suspect, Mike, says that this was a prank for YouTube, that the gun was an airsoft. He reportedly put the gun in his backpack. He didn't take anything. I mean, he was arrested. He's been charged. Hey, it was just a YouTube prank, defense of a crime?
Actually, Jesse, it intrigued me because I've heard this scenario before, but I've never seen it or really seen it play out in the courtroom. And in New Jersey, we do have a defense of renunciation. And once you do that in New Jersey, I know this took place in Georgia.
And explain what renunciation means, what you mean by
renunciation means like saying, I don't want to commit this crime. I'm calling it quits and it's over. And to put forth that defense in New Jersey, you have to just do it by a preponderance of the evidence, saying more than a 50% chance that that's what he did. However, it is so fact sensitive is the cross-examination, I would imagine, in a trial by a prosecutor would be hysterical in this case. Even though I would ask, the first question I would ask was, did you vape before you went in? How did you get into this kind of situation?
Well, here's the problem, right? So authorities are saying that there was no other person with him. There was no one videotaping him, that he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Now, it begs the question of, someone has to start somewhere. Just because he doesn't have a YouTube channel doesn't mean that he wasn't about to create one. Again, taking him for his word here, but don't you cross a line, right? I mean, let's say he didn't enter the shop, walked away. Maybe he's looking suspicious. He walked away. I'd say, okay, maybe that's a clear case of renunciation. But to take the steps where he walks in, and by the way, this gun, I understand that they actually recovered a .357 Magnum from his home, and they believe that that was the actual gun that he had in his hand. You go through those steps, you might not have taken anything, you might not have shot anybody, but hasn't he crossed the line?
I think he has, Jesse, for two reasons. Is number one is to have really renunciation, it has to be completely voluntary. that means you can't all of a sudden say, which I think would be a strong argument for the prosecution, is maybe he realized he was on video once he got into the store. And you can't renunciate just to avoid prosecution. It has to be as genuine and as truthful as possible. It's like, I don't want to do this crime. I don't know why I got here. It doesn't appear to have that vibe when you're watching it, especially so dramatic in the laughter. And I was just joking. Well, if you're just joking, it doesn't have any support when they recovered a gun that works. And regardless, in New Jersey, if this was New Jersey, he pointed a gun. If they prove that's a live gun, that's a crime there where he would have to be doing mandatory state prison time for pointing a gun.
But there was nothing in the video that was a trigger for him to stop, right? It wasn't like somebody else walked. I mean, from what I saw in that, there was nothing like another person walked in, or it looked like, I mean, why would he have stopped at that moment? And the reason I ask you this is because I actually looked up the law in Georgia. This penalty, this offense, a person commits the offense of criminal attempt when, with intent to commit a specific crime, he performs any act which constitutes a substantial step toward the commission of that crime. Is that what he did here?
I believe so. I mean, how much more substantial can you get other than when you're charged with armed robbery and you have a gun that you pointed, and not only did you point the gun, you demanded the items you wanted to take, which I don't think helps him at all. And I just think circumstantially he's got a very tough path to go down to put a defense in here, because I think he was pretty far down the line.
Well, we should tell you that he's currently locked up at the Cherokee County Adult Detention Center on an almost $5,000 bond. The question becomes, maybe it's a larger question here, this defense of, oh, it was for a YouTube series. I mean, we've been covering a number of problematic issues with social media stars. There's stunts that have gone wrong, people putting themselves in dangerous situations. By the way, the police department said, you know what could have happened? Something like this happens. Not only could the clerk shoot him, a bystander might try to protect the clerk. Someone else might have gotten involved, and someone could have really gotten hurt here. So there's a lot of different lives affected. I am curious, though, if this defense of, hey, it was just for YouTube, it was just for social media, is that going to play into the legal system moving forward?
I don't believe so, because I think always, I don't see how anybody thinks doing anything and posting it on YouTube of this nature, or whatever platform they want to use, thinks that could help them when you're going to have a memorialization on video of what you did. And it always looks like you got caught, so you made this up. And there are a lot of people who post illegal activities that are used against them all the time on trials. So I don't see what the upside is, unless the argument would be is, if you were doing it to post it, you should have had permission from everybody participating.
Right. I mean, I guess the thing is, it's a prank, right? And the whole, I can't imagine if it's going to be a defense. We couldn't inform the store of what was happening because that's the purpose of a prank. Don't we have freedom of expression to engage in pranks in our day and age? I don't know what the law is on that.
Well, the next question on cross-examination would be then, well, if it was a prank, why did you have a live gun with you?
That is I would say the $1 million, maybe the $5,000 question in relation to his bond. So if this goes to trial and he's convicted, or if he pleads guilty, what are these statutes? How serious is this? Because you hear about a robbery or a criminal offense of attempt to commit robbery, seems significant prison time. Am I wrong about that?
No, I don't think it changes anything in this case as far as what the requirements are under the law. The only thing you would, I think, have a hope from a practical point of view of being an attorney who would have to be in a situation where you're risking significant jail time if you want to take this chance, is perhaps to use that as a mitigating factor in your sentencing and hope a judge will sort of give you some sort of compassion for what you did. But when they say too, is I think the police make an excellent point, is what if that person used their gun to defend themselves, and this could have turned into a nightmare for an innocent bystander who was just trying to protect themselves?
I think that's a really good point. And, I'll be curious to see how this case progresses, because frankly, no indication right now that he even intended this to be a prank, but I hope we don't find ourselves in a situation where the line gets even more blurry and it really was doing it on a prank show. I mean, this guy could be just making it up, but what happens when you deal with the situation of somebody actually, I have a YouTube series, I do stuff like this, does the line get crossed? we'll wait and see. But hopefully nobody engages in this kind of conduct. Mike Koribanics, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
And thanks everybody for joining us once again here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.